ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकारेषु सर्वदा। ॐ गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सिद्धसादनम्। ॐ श्रीबुद्धिसिद्धिशक्तिसहित श्री महागणाधिपते नमो नमः। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपते वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। ॐ गणपते नमः। ॐ गणपते नमः। ॐ गणपते नमो नमः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते श्री स्वामिनारायणाय नमो नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय। सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ या देवी सर्वभूतेषु महाकालीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु महासरस्वतीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु महालक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्ष्य मामृतात्। ॐ नमो हनुमते भयभञ्जनाय सुखं कुरु फट् स्वाहा। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्तिः मन्त्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदं मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपा। Welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our contemplation on the overall question about the Atma. That we have been doing that for many months now. In relation to the verse Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Reva or Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So the word Brahma and the word Atma are examined. We have been looking at that carefully. There's so much obviously to be said about it. So along those same lines, to continue from last time, we were looking at the question of Vasana. What is this word Vasana all about? Every scripture in the Sanatana Dharma and other religious traditions, as well as many psychological texts, are talking about this in some way or another. And this is the most important subject, perhaps, most important thing to realize what it is, how to go beyond it, what it's all about, so that we can find out what is the Atma and to be in that state of that Brahmic state, that Atmic consciousness. It is a phenomenal state of living. Total clarity. There's not a single bondage left. There's not a single attachment left that will cause rebirth. You know, that is the state that the rebirth will not occur again. This is the guarantee of the scriptures and the sages. Once we transgress Vasana, once the Vasana or the causal body is gone, the disease of birth and death is stopped. In Swaminarayan Sampradaya, there was Gunatitanand Swami in Junagadh, and he has said that he knows only one thing. He knew so much, obviously, but he says the one thing that I do know is how to cure the disease of birth and death. And we find that the whole Sanatana Dharma is about this. It is about stopping the reincarnation cycle. The reincarnation cycle is a great discovery from the sages, from the great rishis, from thousands of years back. And they have tried to explain to the masses that the cause of reincarnation is the causal body. It is vasanas, desires. Innumerable desires come up again and again and again to experience the world of Prakriti. Now, as we stated before, those desires and the world of Prakriti exist as a manifestation of the causal body. It is a manifestation of Prakriti itself. From a more Tattvagnan point of view, the Jivatma is within the realm of Mahamaya from time immemorial, Anadikal, as per Vachanamrut. As per, even Shankaracharya ji has even stated in Vivek Chudamani, which we will get back to later on. He has stated that it is a beginningless Maya. Maya is Anadi, even Shankaracharya ji has stated that. So, this is a question that shows up in Vivek Chudamani, it shows up in Vachanamrut, shows up in many gurus' teachings throughout the world. Why this Maya is there? Why these problems are there, and the Sabhav, Prakriti, Klesh, all the pain, suffering, problems, every kind of mess that we can see, why is it there? Well, there are many answers to this question. It is there because we can recognize the expression of Maya, and then we can recognize the significance of going beyond it. That's why it's there. So that's at least one way to think about it. There are some more esoteric answers, so we will cover Maya at some other point. And kind of we're covering it in terms of the question of Vasana, but there's more to it than that. There's a quite a bit of in-depth tattvic understanding, which is difficult to explain in short time. I have to do like a special session on that. But I'll just say one or two things about that right now. That in the Gita, Sri Krishna Bhagavan has said that the Maya is his. Daivi Yesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya Mam Evaya Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. It's a very famous verse from the Gita. So, Maya is a power. It is Shakti. It is the Shakti of God. This is one way to think about it. Now, interestingly enough, those who are pure worshippers of Goddess, Devi, they don't really accept this idea. You might be surprised to hear that. Generally we say कि Bhagwan ki Shakti, right? But they look at it the other way, that Shakti is given to Bhagwan. It's totally different approach, by the way. In fact, let's talk about that. It's interesting. I've never explained that actually. Let me stop the screen share here. This is very interesting. In Shakti Upasana, there is nothing greater than Shakti. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv, all the gurus, all the Sadgurus, all the Brahmanda, all the everything that is there is underneath Shakti. Even Shiva is only given some aspect of the Shakti. This is the Shakti Upasana, by the way. So the Mool Prakriti is everything that is their perspective. That there's nothing beyond that. There is infinite energy, and that is the only thing that exists, and it is just infinite power. And underneath that power, everything exists. All the Ishvaras, you name it, everything exists. And so then even the question comes about what is the Brahman or the Akshara Brahma. They say that is also Shakti. So then if you were to ask them what is Parabrahma, they say that is also Shakti. Everything is just energy. But it's divine energy, different levels of divine energy, higher and higher and higher levels. It's kind of interesting, even if you look at, let's just take in the Vaishnavas, the Vaishnavas who worship Vishnu, right? Bhagwan Vishnu or Bhagwan Krishna, let's say. So if we say that Bhagwan exists in the Goloka, Vaikuntha, somewhere God is there, right? In the heavens, somewhere God is there. Bhagwan ke dham. So if you look at the body of the Paramatma, what is it made out of? It is a Satchidananda Brahma. That's what they say, right? So the Shakti Upasana, people will say that is also Shakti only. That infinite power, that is that infinite divine power has taken the form of Vishnu, has taken the form of Shiva, has taken the form of gurus and all that. So in Shakti Upasana, they don't, the Shakta Sampradaya that is there, the Shaktas who are the worshippers of Shakti, they do not consider anything above Shakti. Not anyone, not anything, not any avatar, nobody. In fact, they say even Sri Krishna Bhagwan is considered Bhagwan because of the certain Shakti given to him. This is their perspective. Not that you have to agree with that, but that is their perspective. They said that all the incarnations who have come are given certain amount of power by the goddess. That she is the only one in charge. There's only one that is the goddess and nobody else. This is their perspective. Now, it is a matter of perspective in many ways. It depends on which angle you look at all of this. But the one thing that we have to say very clearly is that whatever the Tattva Gnan may be of any guru, any Sadguru, anybody, that is a certain vision of reality. So even the question of Vasana is also a Shakti after all. Vasana, Shakti, Namaha, which I mentioned before. Vasana is what? Vasana is desire. That I, the me, that comes about. I want this. Right? So there are several questions here. The metaphysical question of what is Brahma, Parabrahma, Mahamaya, Ishvara, that is a more esoteric and more difficult thing to understand. Because it is, even in Vachanamrut, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, he mentioned कि mati bhrami javai. Bhrami javai, if you go into a lot of analysis of these tattvas, it will cause a lot of confusion. Eventually you'll get tired, you'll say, I don't understand anything. Even you might feel you understood something after listening for 2 or 3 hours. At the end you're tired, exhausted, said, I don't want to listen to this again. It is that kind of a subject. Because that it requires imagination. See, if I say that there is the Akshara Brahma, for example, there's a statement in Vachanamrut that says Mahamaya gets absorbed into the light of Akshara Brahma. Okay, there's a statement like this. For me to explain that, I would need 1,000 hours to explain that. I could explain it, but it's not possible to explain in the short time we have. Bhagwan Swaminarayan made that statement. To understand that one line only, we have to go through every Vedanta scripture, Advaita Vedanta scripture. Then we have to go through the Vishishta Advaita Vedanta. We have to go through all the different sadhana paths. Then we have to go through what is called Gnan Pralay. Then also what is called Authentic Pralay. There's a high level metaphysics, which is at the level of Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, at the level of Sajanand Swami, they know what that stuff is. So what happens is that, remember what I mentioned before, there are always 2 levels of understanding everything in Adhyatma. One is the metaphysical level, which is Samadhi level, Samadhi Bhasha, higher level, beyond this world, beyond the Brahmanda even. And then there is our level where we are. And the same concept is applicable always at both levels. You can take any concept, you can take any word actually in the Adhyatma, it's applicable at both levels. Like the Maya, the word Maya is applicable at the higher level of the Brahmanda and Ishvaras, and what is Mahamaya and what are the Brahmandas, and why certain Acharyas and Gurus, they said that Mahamaya is the Shakti of Paramatma, like Shikshapatri and others. Why they have said that? What is the reason for saying that? And then others have stated, no, that the Mahamaya is infinite power, that is God, that is everything. And everything is underneath Mahamaya. Why they have said that, right? So those are metaphysics. That is it's called ontological metaphysics, meaning state of being. Tattva means being. What is the substance itself? And to really understand that understanding actually comes by the grace of God for those who are seeking liberation, mumukshu. Then through that Tattva Gnan understanding is not going to happen just by reading scriptures and all that. From inside, it will click inside what it is, and that happens by krupa. That happens when the bhakti is so pure, when the mumukshu is so pure in the mumukshu bhav, that God gives you that Brahma Vidya Pradayin. Even in the Devi Sahasranam, you will find that she gives you the Brahma Vidya. And then we say that the Gurus give us Brahma Vidya. And in Vachanamrut, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, he mentioned that the great Sadgurus who are living in this world, they are the givers and the manifestation of the Brahman. So Akshara Brahma. So they are giving the Brahma Vidya that is given to the devotee. That is the last thing actually. That is what the Upanishads are. That's the last knowledge. There's nothing beyond that knowledge. It's the knowledge of the infinite reality, and beyond that, of course. So that Brahma Vidya is what we have been we're touching upon that in different ways in our daily satsang here. We're trying to understand it, trying to pray, trying to do whatever we're trying to do. Okay, but that Brahma Vidya is the thing. And that when that awareness comes, that understanding comes about, then when the devotion increases, Gyan increases, the higher level Tattva Gnan begins to open into Anubhav. So when the Vasanas are crossed, and we will come back to the Vachanamrita in just a moment. When the Vasanas are crossed, immediately at that point, the higher truths begin to open. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv, what they are. You will see who they are. Everything written in the Vedas is seen as real. Everything written in the Bhagavatam is seen as real. All of this is written by Gopalanand Swami also in his talks. When the Bhakta, the yogi, reaches such a stage, whatever is written in the Sat Shastras is seen as truth by the devotee, because it has come within Anubhav. So you sit for Dhyan, even for a few minutes, the whole thing opens up right in front of you, like that. And even if you're not sitting in Dhyan, through Gyan, from an internal realization, it will begin to all make sense, and it will click inside that, oh, this makes sense this way, this is like this, like this, like this, like this, etc. Nature of the mind is what? Nature of desire. All of our internal reality, that becomes clear. What is Vasana? That becomes clear. And then when we are worshipping Bhagwan, then at least a certain understanding of the Brahmanda and the Tattva Gnan behind it, the different stages that are there, like what is Pradhan Purush, what is Prakriti Purush, what is Mool Prakriti. So if you go into the more depths of reality itself, then one begins to understand, that, oh my God, that the entire reality around us is like a bubble. So that is called Brahmanda, which is 14 lokas, and then the time spans that are shown. And then as one goes further into all of this, one begins to realize that the actual reality which one has glimpses of is me. It's my own form. It's the Brahman is me. So and in that state, then one progresses. But again, those kinds of realizations are only possible when we are not entangled in this world anymore. That is the only way that can ever open up. It will never open otherwise. Because and we know this very well, at every turn of life, somewhere or another, these desires, different vasanas, different ideas, different things are pulling the individual in 1,000 different ways. So as long as that is going on, even the possibility of reaching something beyond that is closed. It's not going to be open. It opens for those who are so steady and are patient and are doing the sadhana and are leaving everything to God and learning from each experience and then growing, and then at the same time keeping contact with the scriptures. See, like Vachanamrita is a great example of what I'm referring to, where there are these two levels. There's the higher level, the metaphysical, and the one here. What Sajanand Swami Maharaj did, and we are going to see that in this Vachanamrita, we'll spend the whole week on this time, that he's always speaking at these two levels. He talks about the Brahman and the Akshara Brahman and all that stuff all the time, Parabrahma. He's speaking about the Brahmandas and all, because he is seeing all of that. He said that himself. I can see all these things. Now that's one thing. But then he's also speaking at the very relative level of life in Gujarat, by the way, using examples and analogies that are present at that time, that even the common villager, somebody who is illiterate but can understand some Gujarati, some basic, that person can also understand this final truth. And then everybody else in between. Now that is a miracle in Vachanamrita. In Vachanamrita we find a tremendous miracle that the most common individual can understand what it is. This is in Gujarati, of course. Villagers, because they were all villagers at that time. And then the great Pandits would also be able to understand in depth in every line. If you go into it, you start thinking about it, you'll see that there's the tremendous amount of Tattva Gnan and everything is inside there, right? So to continue from where we were last time on that particular Vachanamrut, this is Garada number 11 Vachanamrut, and this was a question that was asked by Brahmanand Swami. So Brahmanand Swami asked that question, hey Maharaj, in Gujarati he said, Vasna nu shu roop. Remember I mentioned this last time. What is the form of Vasna? He's not asking directly what is Vasna. He's asking what is the form so that we can detect its structure, we can understand it as it is. If I want to go beyond my vasanas, which is also a desire, by the way. If I say I want to go beyond my desire, that is also a desire. So you cannot extinguish desire completely. We can say I want to please God. As I mentioned before, Bhagwan Swaminarayan, he mentioned very practical and very good, very easy thing to understand. He said, keep only one desire in life. You have so many other desires, bring them, synchronize them into one desire that I want to please God. That's all. Bhagwan ne prasanna karva che, Bhagwan ne prasannata. Prasanna means you want to please God. So what pleases God? It's even a child can understand this thing. See, even a big Pandit may not understand. It's like that. Because in pleasing God, in pleasing Bhagavan, in pleasing the great sages, we are not going to do anything that is going to be harmful to us or to anybody else. That's very easy. I think it's very easy to understand. Now, when we bring desires completely into synchronicity, the synchronization of desires, when that occurs, you begin to see the form of vasana. And that is what Maharaj is describing over here. And so we're going to spend today and probably the next couple of days in the first paragraph still, and then we will get to the actual answer of what he has given us to what is beyond the vasana, right? But it's also, the answers are also hidden inside, not hidden, but they're also expressed here as a definition, like to detect what is vasana. So Maharaj explained here, that is Shriji Maharaj bola je. I was reading Gujarati and I'll translate it for you. So this is the line we're looking at right over here, okay? So ત્યારે શ્રીજી મહારાજ બોલે છે, પૂર્વે જે વિષય ભોગવ્યા હોય ને દીઠ્યા હોય ને સાંભળ્યા હોય તેની જે અંતઃકરણને વિશે ઈચ્છા વર્તે તેને વાસના કહીએ. He's given a clear definition. He's given a very clear, very practical and understandable definition. He says that in the past, what we have experienced as bhog, and I mentioned this in the last two recordings, I'm just reviewing it quickly, that bhog is within the antakaran, it's inside our memory structure. See, antakaran vishay ichha. Vishay means within the antakaran. The current of ichha, that is ichha shakti. Ichha shakti, gnan shakti, kriya shakti, swarupini. In the Lalita Sahasranam you find this expression, right? So that is what that is, that the ichha has energy behind it. So inside the antakaran there is the desire that ichha means me, I want. That is the psychological construct of the me. That is called the jiva. The jiva, in the difference between jiva and atma is only this much. The atma tattva that is identified with the psychological ego construct that I am Sachin, I am this body, I am these desires, I am these vasanas, I am these thoughts, I am these emotions, these are my family members, these family members are mine, this money is mine, this house is mine, this country is mine, this political party is mine, this race is mine, these clothes are mine, everything, these glasses are mine, I and me, hu and maru. In Gujarati you say hum and maru. Hu means me, maru means mine, me and mine, the psychologically, mentally, internally. That is the jiva. The atma tattva that is entangled in all of this ego construct is the jiva. So, but sometimes the expression is used chaitanya jivatma. That expression is used to highlight the fact that you are actually the atma, the chaitanya, your consciousness. You are not this jiva. But that expression is used because they are the same in that sense. The atma tattva is the same. It is just identified as the jiva, with everything I just mentioned. So here Maharaj is saying that purve, before whatever vishayas have been experienced, bhoga. See why he's using the word bhoga? This is the word right over here. See, purve je vishaya bhogvya hoy. Bhog means what? It is enjoyment. Now, it is enjoyment, meaning that I am enjoying. So let's say, for example, I take some potato chips. Let's start with very simple examples to understand this. I take some potato chips and maybe I have, let's say, maybe like a Diet Coke with me, let's say, right? And maybe some other snacks. So I eat them, and I put the potato chip in my mouth. Now, there are hundreds of varieties of potato chips. There's Pringles, and there's Kringles, and there's I don't even know all the names. The salted ones, unsalted ones, lightly salted, vinegar. You just name. There are maybe 100 plus varieties of potato chips. You'll notice at any given point, when I put the chip in my mouth, I'm smelling it and I'm tasting it, both. And I'm touching it also. There is the experience of that object. What does the mind do naturally? It says, I like this, I kind of like it, or I don't like it. It's a continuum. There's a continuum. You might say, I like it very much. We say, wow, this is so tasty. This is so some foods we really enjoy. I'm just using food example. All five are there. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasgan for all five senses. And then the combinations. So we must understand what is bhoga. We cannot understand what is vasana until we understand bhog. And bhog is our experience. This thing we know very well. We don't need any scriptures for this. We don't need any gurus for this also. I mean, as such. But we do need to reflect. Because it's our experience. Now we can reflect upon bhog. So what is Maharaj saying here? He's saying here, in the past there has been bhoga. Of all different kinds. So those experiences are recorded now. That bhoga, bhog itself is, from a Vedantic point of view, we will say that is the Jivatma fully identified that I like this, I don't like this, I partially like this, whatever. The I is involved. Now, yoga is where the experience still exists. Like yogic eating, what would that be? The experience of the potato chip. Okay, but the internal happiness and distress is not activated or deactivated by the experience. When the activation of sukha or activation of dukkha, happiness or distress, and the continuum, the happiness, distress continuum. It's not dichotomous, it's a continuum. When that activation does not happen, then one is a yogi. This is the point. So the word bhog is applicable to the individual who is then experiencing the sukha or sukh dukh continuum. Sukhe dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Bhagavad Gita, right? What does the Gita say? Keep equanimity among sukh dukh. So now that definition of equanimity that Sri Krishna is giving is about maintaining the balance within sukh dukh. So that is where sukh and dukh is experienced by the sadhaka, and the sadhana is to maintain the balance. So there's sadhana implied in that particular verse. Sukhe dukkhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Sukh dukh, labh alabh, jay vijay, victory or not victory. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes there's happiness, sometimes there's dukkha. Sukhe dukkhe, sometimes labha labho, labh, sometimes there's labh, great benefit, sometimes there's loss. So many things are there, isn't it so? New child is born, we say, oh, everybody's saying congratulations and all that. Somebody passes away and all the people we know, they're all sad, all this, oh, condolences and all that. Is it possible to maintain samatva in that? That's samatva. Samatva means equanimity among both experiences. That equanimity is the mind coming to its own natural synchronous state. And that synchronous state is possible when one recognizes first what is vasana, and that is what Maharaj is describing right here. Purve je vishay bhogvya hoy, dita hoy, samla hoy, tene antakaran vishay ichha varte, tene vasana ke meaning what? It means that the ichha, the desire for sukha, and the attempt to reduce the dukkha, which is natural, that is the ichha. We want sukh only. Okay, but unfortunately, the experiences within Prakriti do not provide constant, uninterrupted sukha. They just don't. Because that is not the nature of Prakriti. It is limited. This is through our experience we can see. This is the fact. So the Jivatma, by its mistake, because it is attracted towards the Sukha, it wants that repeated again. And that repetition again is what is creating the Vasana. So you can see here, he says here, that whatever has been experienced in the past through our eyes, ears, and you have to also understand all the other senses, the desire for that comes up again. Why does it come up again? Because it is experienced in the past, repeatedly in the past, not just one time. We know this by a fact even when we do grocery shopping. When we go for grocery shopping, we will not buy something new right away that we haven't tried. Most of the things we've tried before. And we say, okay, I like this, so we will go for that. I like this is good. This was good for me, this is good. Obviously, we have to make those decisions based on that. We have to make decisions based on what is healthy for us, what is good for us, what is beneficial for us. But the difference is, when those decisions are made based on the likes and the dislikes, then the generation of vasana occurs. How is vasana generated is also implied in here. For example, take the potato chip example. Let's say I have those Pringles potato chips. Let's say I never ate it before. Just imagine for a moment Sachin here has never eaten those Pringles potato chip. But somebody says, try this thing. I said, okay, I'll try. But I like these hers and other things. Okay, so I try this new. I said, oh my God, the flavor is different, the crispiness of it, the texture of it, right? Wow. So my brain tells me, of course, a potato chip is a potato chip. But what is it my brain telling me? I like this. I like this better than the other one. Immediately a comparison is made. Now, we're not criticizing anything right here. I don't criticize anything anyway, except for a few things perhaps. But I'm just trying to objectively present what happens. How are likes and dislikes generated? They are generated by experience. If I say, oh, this particular fruit or this particular object, this is the experience is I like this better than the other one. Obviously. This differentiation is within Prakriti. Bhagwan Swaminarayan, he mentioned this in Garada number 2 Achanamrut, and that's on Vairagya. But he's also differentiated this, that the Uttam Kotina Vishaya, the highest, the Vishayas that are giving you the most intense experience. Then there's middle level, Madhyam, and then there's Kanishta, the lower level. And I mentioned that probably before also. So the Vishayas are also within a range. Right? You can have certain experience that is so enticing, the enjoyment is much more. And experiences that are at a very minimal level. Even when people get married, for example, right? Now, why does somebody have to go through these elaborate, massive rituals of inviting 300-400 people, spending $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 for one day? You might wonder why people do all that. But there's a very clear answer. If they have the money and the means, they want to enjoy, and they want the couple and the family, they want to have the maximum enjoyment of that marriage ceremony. They have all the pujas are done, and then all the different rituals are done, and so many things are done. It goes on for a long time. Then all the decorations and all the different the people that are aiding. I don't even know all the names actually. Mera vishay hai nahi. This lagan ki babat mein. But I've gone to attended various marriage ceremonies in the past, and there's so much involved, and so much money is spent. And I'm not criticizing by any standard. Now, picture this. You could take that same $250,000, put it in the bank account, have a tiny ceremony that costs less than $5,000, go to the court, get the marriage certificate, and give that money to the couple to live as a nice bank balance. No. We're not going to do that. We have to look good in society. What will other people think if we do that? They will think we're poor. They think we're miser. That the couple will not be happy. And this is a big day, the biggest day. Million things come up. Massive amount. People who have a good amount of money saved, they cannot even think of such a thing. They will say that they would rather commit suicide than give that money to that couple and do a court marriage and have a tiny ceremony with a small pujari in front of Ganeshji. Kalyanam. Do the Kalyanam ceremony for $51 archana. If real love is there, why not do this? These are all vasanas, endless. These are all endless desires. And I attended one wedding here years back. So the individual had spent at least $400,000, and the couple got divorced just within 10 days. I have seen this. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and I'm not criticizing. You want to do that, you go ahead. You could spend because it has to do with the experience one is looking for. I want 500 people at this wedding, so that all those people should say that this wedding was fantastic and this and that. And by the way, I attended a wedding recently. It's very interesting. From my perspective, it was the ideal, absolutely fantastic. They had spent quite a bit of money, I'm sure, and it was done very, very, very spiritual family, everything, so many things. But I also heard from some of their closest friends, oh, this food was not properly made. They found something wrong. All those people who came, if you were to ask each one of them what they found wrong, they would have a list of 10 to 15 items at least. And that's what's in their mind. ये संसार की बुरी हालत है. Everybody is in अज्ञान. और क्या कहना है? What else to say about this? I heard this myself actually. I was there for almost 4 or 5 days. You can't imagine these things. Yes, of course, they're not going to tell the bride and the groom and the people who are organized. They will say, oh, it was a fantastic wedding. It was that, so many things. What are they saying behind your back? If you heard that, you would never even hold such a wedding. You would say, what is this? I'm wasting my time. Who are these people after all? You see? But you see the nature of Maya. The nature of Maya is such that on the surface, everything looks good. You go take one dip below, and all of the reality, all of the how can we say? What is actually in people's minds, it becomes known to us. I don't know. It's truly, truly incredible what goes on in this world. But ye sansar hi aisa hai. This is the sansar. That people are running after what? That's what Maharaj has explained here. Antakaranya vishay ichha varte vasna kaye. That this thing has to be this way. This thing has to be this way. What will this community think? What will these family members think? What will this person think? We are concerned about everybody in this world except God and the great saints. And because of that, the chakkar chalta hai. Incredible chakkar chalta hai. Communities are people are trapped inside their culture. I'll put it this way. Culture is a great thing. Even like, for example, this Gujarati language. It is within a culture. Culture, if it has a divine touch, it is extraordinary. Like in the case of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, in the case of Raman Maharishi, in the case of Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and so many others, they were in different cultures. They used that culture and infused divinity within it. Like we have this extraordinary organization, Ramakrishna Mission, right? But people know all over the world. Vivekananda Swami was there, and then before him, it probably started like during his time. But that became a worldwide organization. It bound everybody together into Vedanta. It expressed in the Bengali language, but it's for everybody. You cannot say that Ramakrishna Paramahansa is Bengali and it's meant for Bengali language. That's ridiculous. That's an insult. Similarly, this Gujarati language, Maharaj just came there at that time to do the work there, and he used the culture, the language, to express the truths that are universal in nature. The same thing is true with every sage, saint, enlightened being throughout the world. They have to work somewhere in this world in context. So again, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. But I just wanted to mention this because really it is mind-boggling how these vasanas work. It boggles the mind. It boggles the mind because the desires prop up, and when the desires prop up that no, things must be this way, I have to have those potato chips. See, it's like this. If I eat that Pringle potato chip, and if I like it so much, then at some point, I will want it again. Okay, but you will notice if I eat too many of them, I will get sick of it. You know what they say, short and sweet. This is a good expression actually. In the world of Prakriti and Mahamaya, keep everything short and sweet. And then we will get the treat of liberation. Short, sweet treat. Keep everything short and sweet with everybody, with every experience. Don't think too much about it. If you want to think about something, think about the great scriptures of the world. Think about something higher. What is the point in only thinking about the limitations, the limited experiences? In Vachanamrita Garada number 30, I think it's number 30. I forgot the number now. It's in the end section. Maharaj has talked about 6 things. We'll cover it. It's very interesting. He says if those 6 things are there, one experiences misery in this life and the next life also. And one of those things is this continuous thinking about these vasanas. It just goes on. One thing after another, and then trying to expand them is even much worse. Because with the desire expands further. And then it twists in different ways. So isko Maya ka jal kehte hai. Maya jal. Maya jal is what? That we, our own desires and the energy within desires, are using it to expand our individualized experience as the me, saying, oh, I'll get happiness here. I'll get happiness here. Let me try this now. Okay, I'm tired of this thing. Let me try this one. One of the secrets in the Shaiva Tantra tradition is never to exhaust desire. Very interesting point, Deviji. Very interesting point. Isme kya hai? If I like the Pringle potato chip, what they're saying is something like this. And I'll connect it with Vachanamrut also. It's a fascinating connection. Let's say, for example, I have 25 chips of Pringle. I'm hungry and my mind is just sparkling off that I'm going to eat them. That's it. I'm going to eat them. I just want to eat that. What the Tantra tradition teaches, Tantra means integration, not the negative things that are associated. It means you put the potato chip in your mouth and you allow the sensation to reach its maximum capacity with one chip. We don't allow that. We will eat one, we get a little bit of a sensation, and we want to quickly expand the sensation to saturation point. It's called Santrupta Bindu in Gujarati, or maybe even in Sanskrit, and it's called satiation in neurophysiology. So if I eat all 25 of them, I'm trying to do that because I want to get to the point where my desire for the potato chip is totally extinguished. It's like I'm totally, oh my God, I feel so satisfied. So I'm trying to get to that point of satisfaction, neurologically, psychologically. Okay. But when I do that, I have caused damage to my body. Because I've eaten too much. I've eaten too many of those chips, and I have generated more vasana within, more conditioning within. And not only that, now I don't even want to eat those potato chips because I've extinguished, excuse me, I have extinguished my desire to eat them. But now notice something else that could be done. Keep the 25 chips just like that. The mastery, we talk about self-mastery, right? See how this works. You say, I have 25 chips, I'm leaving them on my counter. Leave it there. Take one, take half, and really hold it, see it. Get all 5 senses involved in it, and then put in the mouth. Go slow it down. Become in touch with the flavor. Allow your senses to fully absorb the sensation from that one chip, half a chip or one chip, and then swallow. And then you will notice, immediately you will notice that you have gained more experience, and that there's a certain experience that dies down, and then the sensation goes away. But you'll notice something else. The I that says, I like this, and it says, I want this again. Let me have the second chip. You'll note, this is meditation. This is called, it's a type of meditation that is taught where you are in connection with the objects of the senses. You're not suppressing them, you're not denying them, you're not running after them also. You're trying to become aware of their impact on you. Right? And then this kind of meditation is useful eventually in realizing what is vasana and what is the power of vasana. So we'll stop here for today because this is a bigger discussion. I'll explain this more in detail. But actually, let me just say one more thing. That when the first potato chip is eaten this way, and if you are aware that the sensation inside is an occurrence within, it's a happening within, that, oh, this is an experience within me, and yes, the certain amount of food is to be eaten. If one keeps the experience at the experience level only and does not run after that experience, naturally the individual will eat only that much, which is the exact amount that the body needs. And this statement I'm making as a foundation for a much bigger statement that is written in Vedas by Bhagwan Swaminarayan, which I'll explain to you about the Atma and what he's talked about in there. But this is something that anybody can try. Very, very important. We can try it today. When we eat something, just leave the food there and try to go slow. See, our mental tendency is to eat fast, or eat one after another. I like this and I like this. Okay, it's there. It's not going away anywhere. Leave it alone. Eat slowly, slower amounts. Chew the food carefully. Be completely aware. Or isme kya hota hai? The people who are more spiritually oriented, they will, while they're chewing and tasting, they will connect the name of God. Bhagwan ka jo naam hai, they will connect with that activity. That is difficult to do because now you're thinking of God, you're thinking of the Ram or Krishna or whoever you're thinking of, and you're still and your part of your mind is wanting to just, if you're really hungry, right? Then you want to eat that. So of course we have to eat when we're hungry. But that's what self-mastery is about. So I'll say more about it tomorrow in connection to this Vachanamrut. There's a lot to be said about this. It's very, very interesting. It's fascinating. We'll try to open it up carefully. We'll stop here for today.